All right, guys, the summer gaming drought is finally over.
Yay!
Getting into the thick of the gaming season. What I want to know first, what game disappointed you guys the most?
After you, please.
I'm gonna have to say Watch Dogs.
Knew that was coming.
I was so hyped. I was so stoked for the game.
Oh, we all know that.
Yeah, last season I was really excited for it. After Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I was just like, this is gonna be amazing. This is gonna be awesome. I'm so excited for this. And I was very, very let down. I thought the story was okay, not very original, but it was working. The animations were okay, but I thought gameplay-wise, it was just like you played it.
It's just very simple. Like after seeing all of the trailers since 2011,
yeah,
it's like I'm thinking I'm gonna be like this super hacker guy that's just gonna just be a total badass. But
Fun
now
Batman.
it's just like
Fun Batman,
Batman.
as you called it. I think it was with the original E3 trailer. Everybody was like, "Oh, it's totally gonna utilize the next gen graphics systems," and then even the next gen versions of it, the PS4 and the Xbox One versions of it. In the videos of it, the E3 video, it's like him walking around and there's leaves blowing and there's all this paper on the stuff and his jacket's flowing around, and then it looks like it's all just stuck in once. It doesn't look natural. And I thought, I was really disappointed, more so with anything, surprisingly, with the driving aspect of it, because
driving.
I'm like, Ubisoft is making The Crew, which is a racing game. It's dedicated strictly to that. And whether it's the same studio or not, you would think that Ubisoft, in and of itself, would have a better idea of how to utilize those driving physics.
Yeah.
Because The Crew looks, again, well, Watch Dogs look good, but The Crew looks like it could be a really good racing game. So I was like, all right, maybe Ubisoft's gonna do it the same. But I thought it was clunky and just awkward gameplay mechanics.
Kind of feels like how Grand Theft Auto 4 feels like everything just floats. Like you feel like you're driving a boat in every car. So.
Yeah.
That has no control and the wheels are just useless. I thought it expressed ingenuity. It was definitely something that was creative and original. I don't think that they executed it nearly as well. I think it was way too much hype and it got way too much recognition for the actual quality of game that it turned out to be.
I don't want to give him a pass on that because GTA 5 had enormous hype and it passed with flying colors. Even though you would disagree, but I think the hype train. I don't know. I just think that's a sorry excuse. It's been since 2011 since that game was supposed to drop, and
Right.
I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as say it's a terrible game. It's just.
It's definitely not a terrible game.
Yeah.
I think if it didn't have all of the hype it had, I think I would feel more comfortable playing it. I'd be like, okay, this is better. But I don't like when a game builds up, when a company builds up all of this hype and all of this expectations for a game, and then they completely let the players down. I think it had some aspects of it that were good, and they did live up to some expectations, but I think overall it just fell very short of the line that it had set, and I think that's what made it so difficult.
It's kind of the same thing as Destiny is doing right now. It's like the hype train for that game is just, I've never seen anything like it before, and for right now, I've bought it, and it's not even in my genre, and I really like it. So,
Right.
Let's see what Destiny does, but we'll come back to Watch Dogs in a second because I have something to say about it also. But Andy, what game was disappointing to you?
Okay, so this may be a personal choice. And I totally get that if it is, but to explain why this game is so disappointing, go back to childhood Andy. Don't have that many options. Yeah,
Childhood Andy still have the beard?
No, just the gut, little fat childhood Andy. We had a Jaguar, which I don't even know why we had a Jaguar, but one game was out for it that was the coolest thing in the world, and I was probably too young for it, Alien vs. Predator.
Okay.
And that game, I loved fighting against the aliens because graphic limitations, there was no sound. So when they came up on you from behind, you didn't know they were there until you were dead, and it was scary and it was really tense. But ever since then, I always thought to myself, I really want a great aliens game. I want a game where I'm in that, one of those little Marine dudes with the cool guns, that cool badass, I'm gonna do everything, I'm a total badass, we'll get another bug hunt, sir, attitude. just you wanna be those dudes from Aliens. They're douchebags, but you wanna be them somewhat. And I wanted that next gen, real. And then I played Aliens Colonial Marines, which I don't know where to begin, because you could say stuff about the story, not just that it's a bad story, but it does have, like, with the canon franchise that, you know, doesn't make any sense. People who are dead, they just say are alive because reasons, I don't even know. You could say it's the gameplay or the graphics. Like, I'm gonna go to the graphics first, because they had the same Watch Dogs thing where they showed it off and it was this gorgeous, oh my god, it's like we're in the world. And then it comes out and it looks horrible.
See now, not to mean to cut you off, but
Yeah,
a lot of people are saying that Ubisoft, well, with Watch Dogs, that they did that to conform to these consoles, and that, you know, they didn't want people to feel left out if they didn't have a PC up or anything like that.
No, and that I was about to get to that, because like Watch Dogs totally get that with, because they were trying to trying to like work with new hardware, and sometimes they'd make some limitations to make it run well. I get that. Like, it was, you know, the 360, I mean, the Xbox One, the PS4 are like still new-ish, so I get people trying to like work around that. This was for last gen. Like, they could have still made it look like really good.
These consoles, not these ones, but the last gen ones have been around for long enough that you should be able to understand the limitations of that console.
Like, I know they put a lot more work into it, and it was like a much, you know, like a first-party game, but like Last of Us on PS3 still looked better than like some stuff on next-gen consoles. So the fact that they can't get like anywhere near that with this game, and like again, it doesn't even look like a PS3 game. It looks like a PS2, maybe like late PC, like in the early 2000s kind of game. It looks awful, and like the animations are chunky. And then you get to the gameplay, where the shooting is boring. There's an upgrade mechanic, but like it doesn't change anything. It's just a cosmetic thing. And then you're just shooting aliens, which should be fun, and there should be some like tense thing to it. Cause you've seen the movies, they run all around the walls, like they have like those long tails.
Halo's pretty fun. I mean, if you ask me, so.
What was?
Halo.
No, I mean, yeah, exactly. They could just do Halo, but with the Flood.
Yeah.
And yet, something's up with the AI where like, they experience like 10 times in a row where aliens they have their arms like this and they just run at you, just I'm gonna get you, but they just dance around you and they don't attack like once.
Yeah. I mean, a game where the AI is terrible, it automatically loses me, and that's why I love Destiny so much now, because the AI, like even on the normal difficulty setting, it's like.
Oh, it's at least I haven't played the actual one, but I played the beta, which I was admittedly disappointed by. But I just
what
thought
doesn't disappoint you?
I am very high maintenance.
Yeah.
No, I think I will have to admit the AI in Destiny, at least in the beta, was remarkably intelligent.
Yeah.
But AI has always been something that game companies have always had a trouble with, and it's understandable because it's hard to design something that's supposed to react completely naturally.
Like a human player.
Yeah,
to what
exactly.
you're doing,
It's difficult because every single person approaches a situation very differently. Even when you only have one way of doing it, people are still going to be coming at it slightly differently. It's hard to come up with some sort of artificial intelligence that is able to react naturally to that. And that's one thing I had with The Last of Us, which I just got the remastered one. I just finished it today. And I thought the game was good, but I just thought that the AI was an example of poor engineering.
Wait,
You're just picking at everything.
well, my thing with The Last of Us is it's all about. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just the infected. The infected is just a very minuscule part of the entire story.
Yeah, just like how in the TV show The Walking Dead, how people complain about how like it's not about zombies, about how
It's
people
about
are coping,
character development.
how people are coping with being
Isolated, and they make it abnormally easy to survive around the infected, but it's weird.
I'm telling you, play off of normal and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, replay it again on the harder difficulty set and you will know.
I feel like maybe my biggest issue is the fact that with the clickers who have supersonic hearing, you can drop a ladder from on top of a bus and it slams down and they don't react. And Ellie can go running in front of the AI, whether they're the humans or whether they're infected, And if your head's poking a little bit over a bed, they freak out. But Ellie's literally just running in front of them going, oh, hey, Joel, check it out. I'm right here. And they're just like, oh, no, it's no big
Do
deal.
you hate The Last of Us?
No, I absolutely do not. I do not.
It'd be so much easier if you just said you did.
I do not. I really, I enjoyed The Last of Us.
Okay.
I don't buy into all of the hype of it.
All right. So now, before we get to our anticipated games, I just want to, go off on one more note about Watch Dogs. The only thing that made that game so uninteresting for me was the story, and I think the main reason for that was Aiden was such a stale character. Like, I think after playing GTA 5 just a couple months earlier and how the characters were so dynamic, even though you said they could have been developed a little bit more, Aiden
They
just
had
dropped
very
the ball
distinct
for me.
personalities. I think
Yeah.
that Ubisoft was trying to kind of go back to a Connor-esque character with Aiden. I think that they were trying to go for that more stoic, not so much level-headed, because he was doing some pretty ridiculous things, but this more stoic and calm person, because Aiden never really freaks out. He never has this outbreak.
He's Christian Bale from
He
Dark
is.
Knight.
He's
He's phone Batman. That's not even just like a phone do a cool
He's
thing
Christian
thing.
Bale's character, and it's
Yeah.
Connor had a couple freakouts in Assassin's Creed 3, but generally speaking, he was very stoic. He was very monotone. He was just kind of there, and I feel like Ubisoft tried to mirror that aura from Connor onto Aiden and have a more modern day stoic Batman-like character.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give them this, like Aiden Pierce or whatever. Yeah, Aiden Pierce. Yeah, he was kind of boring. Some of the side characters are actually kind of fun.
Supporting characters definitely make it
Right.
worth it. They build up, they kind of fill in that personality gap. It's like Aiden is this void of humanity. He's just there. And then everybody else around him has these colors and these vibrance, even though the city is very dull.
Like, I even think his sister is quite interesting. It's like,
His nephew, who doesn't speak until like halfway through the game, has more personality.
and it's just like, he just doesn't act like a guy who just lost his niece.
or who kills people on a regular basis.
Yeah, and that's what really struck me. But I mean,